Hello everyone, Happy New Year. This is the 5th episode of the challenge 5k to 100k. On this episode I'm going to share with you 6 hands that we had throughout the week, and this was an insane week. I will also share with you the results that we have so far on the challenge. Let's jump into it. Alright, so on our first hand we have pocket 6's middle position. We opened to 12. We got a 3-bet from the regular on the hijack to 41, and this time we decide to call. The flop comes king 5-3 to tone. We have 6s without the club. We decide to check, and he bet around 30%, and we called. The turn comes an offsuit 9, and we check, and he checks back. The river is an offsuit 4. I decide to check. And now he decides to bet 123 in 159. At this point it's good to see the action that he did on the turn. So he checks back on the 9 and offsuit 9. That would be a very good card for him to continue barreling with a stronger portion of his range. So when he decides to check, I believe that he's not going to have that part of the range. He's going to have like a medium strength hand here. So I believe that the best hands that he can have is like 10s to queens, maybe some 9x of clubs. I think it's very interesting to develop check shove as a bluff line here, as we still have all the strong hands like pocket 3s, pocket 5s, pocket 4s, we have 6-7 suited, pocket 9s, even king queen. If I think he doesn't have a king very often playing this line, checking turn, I think even king queen for value, it's a good check shove here. And yeah, just put him on a blender here. After he checks turn, I think his range is going to be medium strength, so just applying pressure here, I think it's a good option. So we just check shoved, and he tanked for a while, and he ended up folding. Alright, on the second hand we have an open on the hijack from a regular to 18, we have a call from the button, we are on the big blind with ace 4 suited, and we squeeze to 100, and the initial raiser called and the button folds. The flop comes 9-4-3 rainbow, and here I think our hand wants to do 2 options. We can bet on the bigger side, and we can also check. It's a mixed strategy here. We decide to check this time, and he decided to bet 1/3. Here I really like to check raise, well, for protection slash value. I think we still have the best hands a lot of the time, but the problem with check calling is we're going to have most likely a turn that is going to be higher over 4, and it's going to be really hard to play. So I think it has really good merits to check raise here. We make him fold hands that have very good equity against our hands, and maybe you can even also fold hands that are ahead of us, like 5, 6s, you can decide to fold. So we decide to go to that option. We check raise for 206, and he decides to call. The turn is a jack and open hearts, and we decide to check, and he checks back. The river comes an offsuit 3, and our hand wants to go to showdown. We still beat his 5-6, 6-7, some ace size that he has some backdoor flush. Well, we check, we want to go to showdown with our hands, and he decides to shove for almost 90% pot. Now, I think it's really interesting to understand when he checks turn, I think he's not going to have like any sets. Yes, he can have some jack X, he can have like some jack 10 suited or queen jack suited, but that's going to be the only ones, and probably you would just have like with the backdoor flush, and if it's a jack of hearts, then it's just going to be jack 10 of spades and jack 10 of clubs and queen jack of spades and queen jack of clubs. So that's 4 combos, and I'm not sure also if he's going to go 90% pot on a river for value with that. So it's a really narrow value range in my opinion here. And then he has like all the 5-6 suited, 6-7 suited, and then a size that he decides to bluff. So I think we have a very good candidate to bluff catch here. So we decide to go for a call, and this time he had ace 10 of diamonds, which is a little bit looser that I was giving him on the calling of the check raise on the flop. So if he's going to have more of these not backdoor combos, I think it starts to get even better bluff catching with our hand. So the next hand is exactly one orbit after from the previous hand, so same table and same villains. So hijack opens 18, button calls, and we have aces on the big blind. We squeeze to 92, and we got call. So this time we are 3-way. So pot is 300, and the flop comes jack 9 deuce, two clubs. We have aces, no club. I think we have two options. I think check or betting on the larger side is good. I was intending to check raise here, but everyone checked. We see a turn, which is a 10 of spades, which is a bad card. This interacts very well with the range, so we decide to check again. And now the hijack decides to bet 280 in 300, so it's almost pot. The button folds. And here is a tough situation. We are behind of a lot of hands. I think he can still check jacks. He can have definitely tens. And then he has jack 10 suited. He can have all the king queens. He can have 7-8 suited. So it's a lot of hands that we are losing. And then maybe some hands that we are winning, but he still has a lot of equity. Like maybe some queen jack suited, king jack suited, maybe it's jack of hearts. But it's very few, and I think actually that would be preferable to fold here. In game I couldn't find the fold, so I decided to call and evaluate rivers. So the river comes the 3 of spades. So now the backdoor comes and we have the ace of spades. So we block the nut flush and we decide to check. On a pot of 860, he takes a lot of time to put the bet of 75%, 568. What I thought at this moment is we have the ace of spades. It's a really important card here. Of course, he can't have nut flush. Also thought that I'm playing against a good player that is capable of having a bet folding range here for value. It could bet here like jack 10 suited. It can bet jack jack or 10 10, 7 8. That is not a spade. 7 8 suited, no spade, so that 3 combos. Some king queen with no spade that he can find a check fold, is able to fold that hand. I thought that it would be interesting to transform our hand into a bluff, so I decided to check shove for about 3x his bets. And he tanked for a while, and unfortunately he called with king queen with the queen of spades. Let me know what you think about this hand, if this was a punt or if you like the line for the bluff. Right, so on the next hand we have pocket tens on the button. We open 24, we got the call from the big blind and from the straddle. The flop comes queen 8-4, 2 clubs. We have tens no club, and it was check check. And I think here tens without the club I tend to prefer to bet. We still need a lot of protection with tens, and we have more flush draws that we can value from, right? So we bet, and we got check raise from the straddle. So the big blind folds and the straddle decides to check raise. We are playing against a good player. He's a 27-21. I think he will still find his 5-6, 6-7, 9-10, jack 9, jack 10 as a bluff, like club draws. So I think we have a pure continuation here. So we decide to call, and the turn comes the 7 of hearts. So now opens the second flush draw, and he decides to check. I decide to check back, try to go to showdown. The river comes offsuit jack, and on a pot of 366, he decides to bet 92. So I think our tens is going to be good a lot of the time. He can still do this like with 8x maybe, or some 4x. I decide to check raise flop, but the jack also interacts with his range. He can have like the jack x of hearts or jack x of clubs, and that now it's trying to get value from and betting really small. So I think it's really interesting here to transform our hand into a bluff, making that hands in a very, very hard spot. So we decided to jam, and we found the quick fold. The next hand we have aces on the cutoff, and we open to 24. The button, which is regular calls, and the straddle also regular calls. So we are 3-way on the flop king 7-4 rainbow. The straddle checks, and I think here small bet is the standard line. So we went for a third, and the button folds and the straddle calls. The turn comes a 10 of diamonds, open diamonds. We have the ace of diamonds, and he checks. And I think here the 10 is a really good card for us to develop an overbet line. We have a massive range advantage here. He doesn't have much 7-7 or 4-4 when he just check call. We still have 4-4, 7-7, king, ace, king. That is all hands that he is not gonna have. So I think overbetting here makes a lot of sense, polarizing our range. So we went for 1.2x spot, and he decides to call. The river comes an offsuit 3, so the only combo that gets there is the 5-6. He only have like 5-6 of diamonds here, I believe. And when he checks, I think we still have to continue to be on polarizing mode. We still have a massive range advantage here. So I think makes a lot of sense to overbet here. So I decide to go for a little bit over 2x spot. He decides to call, and he called with king 6 off. Now, an interesting exercise that I like to do here is to put myself on his position and understand if it will be correct to call with that hand, what I would do. And so let's break down the hand. So on the river, what I would do is understanding my pot odds first. So I'm facing a 2x spot, and that means that I would have to have 40%. I need to be 40% right to be on the break-even position. That means that my opponent would have to be bluffing 40% of his range. So now what I would do, I would define his value range and his bluffing range. So I would split his range and I would see what would be his value range. I think the value range, and that's what I would do, it would be categorizing. The lower one would be the king queen. So I would play like this: the king queen, ace king, and the aces. That would be on the one pair hands. So we have 12 combos of king queen. We have 12 combos of ace king, and we have 6 combos of aces. So that means that we have 30 combos here on the one pair, and then we have the 2 pairs. On the 2 pairs we have all the king 10s, and that's going to be 9 combos. And then we have the king 7 suited, which is going to be 2 combos, and the king 4 suited, which is going to be another 2 combos. So that's another 13 combos. And then I would have the sets. So that would be the 4s, the 7s, the kings, and the 10s. So that's another 12 combos. And then I'll have the 5-6 suited, which is going to be another 4 combos. So these in total would be 59 combos. And then I will go for the bluff side, and the bluff side would be the natural ones: 8-9 suited, 4 combos, jack 9 suited, another 4 combos, the queen jacks, all the queen jacks, so that's 16. And then I'll have some ace jack and ace queen. I'll give them half, so it will be another 8 combos ace jack, 8 combos ace queen. So that's another 16 combos. So that would be 16, 16, 32 plus 4 and 4. So that would be 40 combos. So on the bluff side, we will have 40 combos. Value side, we have 59 combos, and bluff side, we have 40 combos. So that means that in total would be 99 combos. Let's make it easy. So 100 combos in total, and 40 of them are bluffs. So that means that in paper, 40% would be bluffs, so it would be a break-even decision. So now what we have to do is with the king 6 to understand the blocking properties and unblocking properties. So what we want on the straddle side is to block value hands and unblock bluffs. So let's see, we block value hands. Yes, we have a king, so we block king king, we block king queen, we block ace king, we block king 10, and the king 4 suited, right? So here we have, from the king queen, we block 4 combos. For the ace king, we block another 4 combos. For the king 10, we block 3 combos. For the king 4 suited, we block 1 combo. We don't block the king 7 suited because it's a club. And then we block the king king, that it will be 2 combos. And we block the 5-6 suited, 5-6 of hearts, that is going to be another combo. So these in total would be 4 and 4, 8, plus 3, 11, plus the king 4 suited, 12, plus 2 king kings, 14, plus the 5-6 suited, 15. So we block 15 combos of value. So from the 59 that we had before, now we only have 44 of value. And now we have to go to the bluff side and understand if we block something, some of the bluffs from the cutoff, or we unblock them. And the king 6, we unblock all the bluffs because we don't have any 8, we don't have any 9, any jack, any queen, and any ace. So that means that the 40 combos of bluff are still there. So this makes it 44 combos of value and 40 combos of bluff. So it's way over the 40% that we need. So it would be in this case a plus EV decision to call. So well played by him. This time it went for my side, but it's a really good call with the king 6. On our last hand, we have an open from the regular on the cutoff to 24. We have a beautiful hand, 5-6 suited on the button. We 3-bet to 80 and he decides to 4-bet to 240. I'm not going anywhere with 5-6 suited. This is a beautiful hand even on a 4-bet pot. So I decided to call. And the flop comes ace 9-3 rainbow, and we have a spade over there. And on a pot of 510, he decides to go 96, a little bit below 20%. I think it's a little bit easier to define his range here. He's gonna have the aces, ace king. That's gonna be his value range, and then he's gonna have some suited broadways. It's gonna have kings, queens, maybe a little bit of jacks on this dynamic of cutoff button. So it looks like it's a bad board, but most of his range is gonna be kings, queens, a little bit of jacks, the suited broadway. So when he goes really small, I think people tend to go small, and then if they don't have the ace king, they just shut down turn. So I think here with backdoor properties, I think it's interesting to float and to evaluate turn. So that's what we do. We call, and the turn comes an offsuit 4. So now we have an open-ended, and he decides to check. Well, now I think, as I said before, I think he can do this a lot with king king, queen queen, a little bit of jack jack, and then the suited broadways. So I think it's interesting to put pressure on that part of the range. So I decide to jam, which is going to be 554 effective on a pot of 700. But unfortunately, he snap called me with aces, but we still have chances. Let's see what he does, and boom! Deuce on the river. That's how we do it with 5-6 suited. Let's go! And now the results of the week. This was a crazy week. So we start on the 29th of December with a win of $7,407. On the 30th, we lost $2,560. 31st, New Year's Eve, we took the time with the family, we take the day off. On the 1st of January, we won $4,610. On the 2nd of January, we won $6,468, and on the 3rd of January, we won $1,018. The week profit was $16,943. We played for 30 hours and we played 7,381 hands. This was a crazy week. I mean, we just run super hot. Everything went in our way. We run pure, and it was a completely contrast of what happened on the last week. And the reality is that we shouldn't be very down when we are running super bad, and we shouldn't be super confident when the things are going well. It's the nature of poker. It's going to happen this a lot, ups and downs. And I remember long time ago, I used to have like huge sessions, and on the next day I would come back super overconfident, and I would just lose the same amount I won in the last days. And in my opinion, overconfidence is also a leak. It's something bad that will bring bad results in the long term. You start to put yourself in spots that you shouldn't, believing that everything is going on our way. And so what I think it's the best approach on these swings is when I'm running super bad, like trying to put my mindset on not such on the negative side, but trying to balance out. And also when I'm running super hot, not becoming overconfident. It's putting my feet on the ground and understanding that this is part of the variance, that I'm not a superhero, and I'm just running good. And just taking from there, and understanding that on the next day, the things can start to go wrong again, and I will not go down again. I'll just become on my balance, and I think that's the best way to approach it. So now the profits from the challenge so far, on these 5 weeks we won $33,509. We played 161 hours, and we played 40,431 hands. Our bankroll amount at the moment is $38,509. So we are around 38% of the goal. Guys, I just wanted to finish to say that I really appreciate all the support that I'm getting. Thank you so much for all the comments, all the messages that I'm getting. It's really positive, and please do it more often. Also, if you have any recommendations, any things that you'd like for me to improve, to create on the content, please let me know, and we will do it. I wish you a blessed week, and I'll see you next one.